Buried is the last map helmed by Jimmy Zielinski and the last new casual zombies map for quite some time. It was the Victus crew's last hurrah and the finale to the main spiral of the zombies timeline. You can tell this map went all out with ideas, and I feel bad for Jimmy because this was probably his best work to date. Buried is a perfect example of a casual map done right. Everything from the variety, depth, layout, and Easter eggs are all pretty good in my book, and we'll go over all that. A good chunk of the zombies community loves maps that innovate on the zombies formula. Buried is the textbook definition of innovation. Buried has such a unique style to it that it is undeniable to appreciate. Right off the bat, when you spawn in, the spawn room is very unique. I love the idea that you cannot return to this space. Single-use paths are something I will sorely miss, and the spawn room is certainly a great example, especially with the LSAT wallby. So eventually you will realize that there are no doors, but there is this huge hole in the ground. Given the map's name, you would think that there is something down there. Dropping down this awesome slide puts you in the main town area. You are immediately introduced to the chalk mechanic, which is just awesome. This gives you free points basically, and when you come across the gunsmith, you can place guns pretty much wherever you want. So you can put the AN-94 and the Galvanuckles right next to each other, if you want. The 1,000 points incentivizes you to find more places to put these chalk drawings. Another mechanic you will come across fairly early on is Leroy the Giant, or Arthur. Again, this is all laid out for you at first, but can get more complex later. There is a key on the wall to unlock the jail cell, and also some booze. Keen-eyed players will notice rubble piles around the map, and it's no coincidence that there's one right next to Leroy. Giving him some booze will break down these barriers. These also give out points, incentivizing even more exploration. Leroy itself is such a great gameplay mechanic. There's so much you can do to interact with the map and its features. This is greatly broadened with the candy. The candy shop has candy you can use on Leroy to make him do various things. He can build the buildables as long as you have one part on the table already. He can go goblin mode. He can lock the box so that it never moves, which you probably will need to do because there are box spawns in the maze, and good luck with that. He can even hold a crawler. What a Chad. While Leroy is a helpful gameplay feature, it can be a little tedious at times. It does seem to have a hold on map progression sometimes, as you can only have one area be opened per round, even if you have like 10,000 points. The most tedious part is if you accidentally shoot him, he returns to his jail cell, and he locks himself inside. You can find the cell key again in some very random locations. This is a casual map, so random locations like that are a questionable decision at best. For a player like me, it's not a big deal, but for the casual player, they might as well never be able to use Leroy again. Either way, I really enjoy this, as you can kind of look at it as a better version of the Hacker from Moon. I would love to have a map companion like this again at some point down the road. I think another innovative feature of the map is the map design. The map design is so open and flowy in the town area especially. Everything just kind of links together, jumping from one building to another and dropping down, climbing up, and shooting through the mine tunnels. However, the map flow completely shifts when you have to get to the witch's house. This definitely seems like the end of the map, as you can't see anything past it. Ironically, the map is buried and you can't see much, but the main section of the map is completely open and visible. So at the very end, this intimidating looking ghost house is very uninviting. I remember 2013 me being kinda scared of this area actually, unironically. So you have to force yourself to get through the area. Witches will come at you through narrow corridors, and if they get close enough to you, they will steal your points, just like a real woman. This can be devastating if you intend to pack a punch, which, let's be honest, what other reason are you going through the house? However, the efforts aren't in vain, as if you get through the house, occasionally killing all the witches will give you a free perk. Another great feature that will be very sorely missed, soon after this map is the ability to get more than 4 perks. Once you're done with the Witch's House shenanigans, you are faced with the maze. I'm not sure how I feel about this maze. Sometimes I like the panic of being in there, and other times I just get very annoyed by it. I do enjoy it because sometimes the layout changes, other times if the layout changes I feel like I'm going in endless circles, which I mean fine, it is a maze, but I just want to reset the maze switches and the Easter egg, like come on. Finally, once you are done with the maze, you can finally get to the gazebo, which is where Pack-a-Punch is. It's such a journey to get here that it makes Pack-a-Punch really worth it. I really enjoy maps that do this, where sometimes you can just be walking around, it's like, oh, that's the Pack-a-Punch. Maps that make it like an event are much more special, like Mob of the Dead especially. Pack-a-Punch being the most valuable thing in a zombies game in the most vulnerable spot alongside with Juggernog is again a great game design standpoint. Another great addition is the Ray Gun Mark II. Many people forget that this is where it was added, and the fact that it was retroactively added in the previous BO2 maps, much like BO1's Meal Kick. The Mark II added a ton of fun to Black Ops 2 and beyond. With the sunsetting of PhD, the original ray gun was also phasing out, so a much better version of the ray gun that doesn't do splash damage was very welcome. The Mark II also is a 3-round burst, and so it shreds through hordes, and it doesn't make crawlers. You can always say in the future games that the ray gun sucks, but the Mark II is right there as a good substitute. It came at the right place at the right time. This map also has a suite of cool wonder weapons. The Paralyzer is basically the jet gun if it wasn't complete dog water. Imagine it not breaking when it overheats Lamau. The Paralyzer has infinite ammo, but it isn't the best with damage. That's how you balance a wonder weapon. I think the Paralyzer as a whole is a great utility wonder weapon, especially due to the fact that you can fly with this thing. It's really one of the first get out of jail free cards in zombies, because if you are completely surrounded, you can just fly out of there for a bit. It interacts with the map well, and is also a great camping weapon, but also a great training weapon, because if you see an unoptimized path, you can just slow down the zombies to make it work. And next is the Time Bomb. The Time Bomb is weird and very niche. It is a good get out of jail free card, but what can happen is that, and this has happened to me back in ye olden days, is someone can put down the Time Bomb on, like, say round 1, and then you'll have 20 rounds of progress, and it's basically reset. But if you used it correctly, it can save you in a pinch and save all your perks. So it is better than Who's Who or Tombstone, I guess. Mainly I just use it for the Easter eggs, but that's okay. Speaking of Easter eggs, the buried Easter egg is pretty good. I still don't like that it's a 4-player Easter egg, but with the solo mods, I'm good with it. I don't think there's a single bad step in either version, maybe except the Round Infinity step. But just like the other Victus maps, the buried Easter egg has 2 versions that sort of parallel each other. They both start out building a contraption that is used for killing someone, then you have to interact with 4 red orbs around the map with the Paralyzer, then doing something with this lantern, then knife the mine shaft signs based on a lamp code, then follow the wisp, then do something with the time bomb, then some weird 4-player shenanigan, and then sharpshooter. Even though they parallel like this, the experiences are kind of different enough where I have to really commend Treyarch for putting in the effort of basically putting in 2 Easter eggs in each of the Victus maps. This is where we reach the end game and the super Easter egg of Black Ops 2. So basically, if you do all the Easter eggs for one side and use all the nav cards in the courthouse, there is a button which activates an epilogue of sorts for each of the characters' sides. Basically, no matter what happens, the world is screwed either way, but it's fun hearing the banter between Richtofen and Maxis. While there's not much to it, they are pretty neat endings to the main spiral of the zombie storyline. So yeah, especially with Sharpshooter, Buried's Easter egg is one of the greats. It's too bad you need 4 players to do this egg, but I seriously recommend getting Plutonium solo mods if you have a PC. But still, the one time I have done it with Sharpshooter with a team, it was pretty awesome. Back to the main map, let's go over a very common criticism of Buried. It's apparently too easy, quote unquote. I mean, yeah, you can just put all the traps in the jug hallway and do this. Or just get the Paralyzer and Vulturate and just do this. But that's not fun for me. What is fun is training. Training in Buried is like jazz. The way the buildings are laid out makes it pretty fun. And you go down here, and then I'm going to go around. Oh, that was a dumb idea. And then I go up here, and then, and then I go down here. But, oh, that was a dumb idea, and I'm dead. But, I mean, come on, man. It's 2022. Buried is not the easiest map. Plus, the Paralyzer isn't a free round 100. It stops killing in the 70s. I find it akin to the argument of Black Ops 3 as a whole being too easy because of Gobblegums. Like, just don't use them. Just don't use the Paralyzer. Don't use Vulture. And shut up about the bank. The bank is in transit and die rise, but no one says that transit's too easy, so shut up about burying it being too easy. Shut up. I guess that's kind of what I love about the map. You can make it as easy or as hard as you want. And speaking of Vulture, I feel like a Buried review can't not mention it, since this is the only perk from BO2 that has never made an official return. Tombstone and Who's Who got Frankensteined into Cold War, and Electric Cherry came all over Black Ops 3. Vulture never really made it into any future iteration, which I don't understand because Vulture is a pretty useful perk, especially for the casual nature of Buried. Vulture has a few different effects that all help you out. It gives you somewhat X-ray vision for the map features, so if you're unsure where a certain perk is, Vulture can help you out. It makes zombies' eyes brighter, drops some small point and ammo drops, and also allows certain zombie kills to drop green smoke, which can camouflage you for a while. The first iteration is Zombie Blood. These are all great additions to your kit that can assist everyone, but especially a casual zombies player, which this map is very appealing to. Buried appeals to every playstyle. You can camp, train, run around like a wild turkey, use old western guns to match the theme, or cheese the hell of the Paralyzer. It's just dumb fun and I love it. Honestly, I can't think of too many criticisms of the map. Sometimes the initial setup is a bit tedious, but I also love Origins, so I can't complain about that too much. It can be too easy sometimes, but I honestly think that this is one of the better maps out there. It appeals to all audiences very well. There's not much to hate. There's no mandatory transportation system. There's no annoying screeching enemies, and part building isn't a complete chore. You even have a buddy that can help you out with various things. What's not to love? Also, the Buried soundtrack is just chef's kiss. It really adds to the aesthetic of the western town, and the courthouse soundtrack. Oh man, the courthouse soundtrack. I think to summarize Buried, it's just a huge sandbox, and you can kind of just do whatever you want. You have so many tools at your disposal, and you can just go around doing whatever. It's like jazz, where you can make it up as you go. If you can make it work, it works. There's no one set strategy. There's no one set setup. You don't have to be ready to kill a big boss. It's just pure casual fun. And looking back at it, it was definitely needed for what was about to come from Treyarch's next lineup of zombie maps. I give Buried a 9.3 out of 10. S tier.
Buried deep underground, buried in a western town, buried. Run if you hear the sound, there's a crazy bitch who flying around. We're buried, we gotta follow the plan, buried at the German.